The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
And hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Thursday episode of Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you as always by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. I'm going to do what I always do and put them in the top right-hand corner so you know where to go if you are in the market for a new or used vehicle. Check out Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. They go the extra mile for you. We try to do the same here on this show every single day. We thank them for their constant support and sponsorship of not just this show, but everything that we're able to do at YSN, everything that we do for you guys in your schools, your students. We could not do without the wonderful sponsorship of Greenwood Chevrolet. Trying to get my camera right. I feel like I'm a little OCD today for some reason. I feel like, oh, it's not right there. But we thank them for everything they do for us and everything they do because they do it for us, they do it for you. It's one of those help me, help you kind of situations. So all of our sponsors, but especially Greenwood Chevrolet, for sponsoring this show and being the presenting sponsor since day one of Running Point. We thank them as always. Today, we're going to have a good show. We're going to recap last night's action. We had plenty of baseball and softball that we had last night with the weather opening up and being excellent. And then we also are going to preview tonight's softball with the 80-degree weather. It's back to where it was last weekend. A lot of teams in action tonight. They're taking full advantage of the weather, which means we're going to have a lot of action on the network that you guys can check out. Today, we're also going to have an interview like we try to do every day. We're going to play a pre-recorded interview with Maddie Dravecki, senior from Boardman Softball. They had senior night last night. We've talked to two of their seniors now, so she'll be the second, and we'll definitely get Cami Goski on throughout at some point in the season as well to complete the three seniors that Boardman was able to celebrate last night on senior night. They also celebrated them the night before with a toilet papering of their house. I feel like nothing says I love you seniors like toilet papering a house on a cold, rainy Tuesday night, right? So with that being said, one of the things that we're going to do today is, obviously recap the action that was last night. So let's get to it. We'll start with the game I was at, and this was one that I had never been a part of, a game where we're sitting there, and because of how long it's going, extra innings wise, we're sitting there thinking, are we going to beat daylight? Is this going to happen? I mean, are we going to have to stop this game and continue it? But Gerard and Hubbard got locked in an absolute just thriller that went 10 innings last night, and it ended 20 minutes before sunset. I was looking at my phone. I was like, okay, sunset's at 8:06. We're sitting here. We started the 10th inning at 7:27, and I'm like, oh, no. We're running out of daylight real quick. Yeah, I felt like Scarlett Johansson in the Avengers. Sun's getting real low, big guy. But Hubbard comes in, scores 4 runs in the top of the 10th to kind of put that one away. And then obviously Haley Taylor, who came in relief in the 8th inning, pitched really well, pitched a really good 3 innings for Hubbard to close out that game. Only gave up 1 hit in those 3 innings. She shut down Gerard's last chance in the 10th, and they got that one in. I think the last pitch was, the last hour was recorded somewhere like at 7:45 like I said, right at like that 20-minute mark where we had 20 minutes till sunset. Amazingly, they still were able to get like an inning and change in of a JV game. They really wanted to get their JV kids some reps. So right after that varsity game was over, they put the JVs on the field. And while I was doing post-game interviews, I saw the JV game going. And there was a point when the coaches were like, okay, who hasn't gotten a hit today on the varsity game or the JV game? And they had like each team had, I think, 2 players left that didn't get a hit. So what they did after they played a whole inning was they were just like, hey, let's just get those two kids a hit, get those 2 kids at a bat, and then get out of here. So props to the umpiring crew for being able to go after a long night in a varsity game and still be willing to stay for getting those JV kids reps. And then props to the coaches for making sure that everyone on the roster got at least one at bat that night in kind of weird circumstances with a really long JV game. This was really good. I mean, we talked about the final innings with Haley Taylor throwing a really good outing out of the bullpen with her last 3. Emily Rosais, only 6 of the 10 runs were earned. And she was just a workhorse by definition last night because Gerard let her go the whole game. She had 177 pitches by the time it was all said and done. And I would bet that since Gerard needs to win to kind of split the series, I would bet that they put her back in the circle tonight as well. She is definitely putting the team on her shoulders in the circle with the innings that she has been eating up this year. Trying to take advantage of the last season that she's going to be wearing a Gerard uniform. Emily Rosais had multiple at-bats in the 9th and 10th inning where that Hubbard team, I think a goal down the stretch once they knew that this game was going long, was just make her work because these at-bats that Hubbard put together, especially down the stretch, were very long at bats. They worked the count. They'd be down 0-2, and they'd just spoil pitches, and eventually they'd work it back to 3-2, and then either they get a hit or they'd get an out, but it'd be a long taxing out for Rosais to record. Really good to see a lot of young players in this Hubbard team have at bats like that. I mean, that is hard to do, to be down 0-2 and fight back and not chase close pitches and foul off the ones that are in the strike zone, but not exactly what you're looking for. And we saw a lot of bats put together like that. I think Coach Romero, when he looks at the tape and he looks at some of the things they did right, he's going to be really happy with the at-bats down the stretch of that game. He talked afterwards about some of the mental lapses that they did have. It's a young team. You're going to have goods and bads. So he'll obviously watch the film and see some of that and still have a lot to clean up the next time they practice. But he's going to see the at-bats, I think, and be very happy with the at-bats they put together. Phoebe Rusnak in the circle really did a good job of fighting through and pitching 8 innings. And like I said, Haley Taylor came in, had a great day at the plate, was 3 for 5 with a couple of RBI. Lauren Komarak got the player of the game. The shortstop for Hubbard made a lot of defensive plays on the field, but also went 5 for 6 with 4 RBI. That'll do it. That'll get you player of the game real quick if you go 5 for 6 in a long 10-inning marathon with 4 runs batted in and a home run. Both teams had one. Both teams had a home run. Komarak hit one for Hubbard, and then it was Allie Wakefield that took one over the fence for Gerard. It's a kind of a taller fence in Gerard. We saw a lot of balls that were hit really hard, and I thought, okay, these are gone off the bat, and then they went off the top half of the fence. A little bit like not ridiculously tall. I'm not saying that they're it's a fence that is over the head of the outfielders, but it's taller than most. It's taller than normal fence. It's not like the breakaway fence that's up to your waist. It was probably, I saw people standing out there. It was probably like up to people's shoulders, the average height shoulders. So you saw a lot of balls that might have been gone in a smaller fence, just hit off the top of it and dropped. That both teams hit. Honestly, they were both teams had hard hit balls that I thought were gone off the bat that went off the fence. Emily Rosais, by the way, we talked about her in the circle. 2 triples on the night. She has 4 on the season now. So showing off her wheels as well as her power. Both those balls were ones I was talking about where thought they could get out of here in a hurry. But off the top of the fence and a little bit misplayed, and all of a sudden it's a triple on the other side. The Gerard and Hubbard matchup will happen again tonight. They're hoping to not be as much of a marathon, probably. but they'll play in Hubbard tonight at 5 o'clock to complete that NE8 series. That win for Hubbard ties them in the standings with Girard. They were 3-3 going in. Girard was 4-2, so obviously now Hubbard 4-3, Girard 4-3, and they'll try to see tonight who's going to take that separation and who's going to stay in front in the standings. As they will play again tonight, like I said, at 5 o'clock in Hubbard. Let's go over some other scores tonight real quick. From last night, I should say, not tonight. We'll go into the YSN graphics page on Instagram, and Lisbon got the win on the baseball side of things. A big win for the Blue Devils, going to Western Reserve and getting the 4-2 win there. Lakeside gets the win over Conneaut on the baseball diamond, 10-0. Final score for that one. The Dragons are hot right now. Ursuline and Louisville, I really like this matchup going in. It was a marquee matchup. Both teams are very, very good. I think Ursuline wanted to gain some momentum because they had a up and down trip to Myrtle Beach, and this is a great way to do it. 3-1, they get the win over Louisville. Mia Opalek pitched probably her best game in the circle to date of this season, shutting down that very potent Louisville lineup that has hitters like Kenzie Denzer, Maddie Benson that have both proven time and time again that they can really hit the long ball and give pitchers problems. So Opalek pitches a great game. Their offense does enough. Lily Dietz gets multiple hits for Ursuline, and the Irish get the 3-1 win over the Leopards. A big one for Ursuline. Edgewood baseball is in a tight one with Grand Valley. They get the win 5-4 last night. Final score there. Lakeview gets the win. They're still hot in the NE8 on the baseball side of things, 12-0. Final score in Lakeview. Struthers gets another win over Jefferson, 10-0. They sweep the Falcons in that NE8 series. Jackson Milton gets the win on the baseball side of things, 6-4 over Lowville. They sweep that series in the MVAC. How about Mooney and Fitch playing a doubleheader at Ysn? And the first one, when you're playing a doubleheader, you don't want the first game to go extras, especially baseball's a little bit slower. So the first game goes extras, and they're like sitting there like, we still have to play another one. Props to Alec Caberna for sitting and calling both games, putting in the work for YSN at Ysn Park. He was there later than I was. I was not the latest game of the night last night, even though my game went 10 innings. The doubleheader of Mooney and Fitch went past me. So Mooney gets the win in game one, 9-7 for that. And then as the night went on, United got the win over Southern Local, 12-0. Final score there as their pitching staff shut down the Indians. Tough one for West Branch against Alliance at home. 5-4. They get the loss to the Aviators. That was their first loss in EBC play. South Range baseball gets a big win in the NE8, 11-2 over Poland. That ties up the standings in the NE8. Three-way tie now with Lakeview, South Range, and Poland, all with one loss in the conference at this point. Now, obviously, that three-way tie is only going to live for one day because Poland and South Range are playing each other again tonight. So whoever wins that one will, make it either a two-way tie if South Range wins, right, or a two-way tie if Poland wins too. So they'll take that, and someone's gonna break the three-way tie tonight between the Raiders and the Bulldogs. Columbiana baseball gets the win 10-4 over Wellsville. Hubbard baseball got the win, and they were in a marathon too. This one went 8 innings against Girard. Something about this matchup, man. Baseball and softball both going extras, and it was Hubbard that got the win on the baseball side as well. 8-7, the final score there. 11-1, Champion baseball beats Liberty pretty easily in run rule fashion. Crestview evens the series with LeBray, a big one in the MVAC. Obviously, Crestview came into yesterday undefeated in the MVAC. LeBray beat them yesterday. I should say 2 days ago. I'm thinking like last game. So the last game before this, LeBray beats them. Crestview comes right back, gets 8 runs against a solid pitching staff, and is able to win 8-6. The final score there. Crestview kind of saves their stock in the MVAC great tier for now on the baseball side. McDonald baseball loses to Springfield. This is a big one as McDonald was trying to vie for the top spot of that Scarlet tier, fighting really with Jackson Milton. Both teams split last week in a matchup for first place, and now Springfield knocks off the Blue Devils 9-5, putting a little bit of a monkey wrench into that MVAC Scarlet tier. East Liverpool gets a conference win, 9-6. The final score for the Potters, getting the win there. How about St. John getting the win on the baseball diamond over Wyndham, 14-2. Final score, 12-5. Salem gets their second win of the season on the softball side of things, 12-5 over Beaver Local. They get the win. Speaking of South Range Poland, on the softball side, it was South Range who got the win 9-0. This was a 3-0 game for most of it, and then 6 runs in the bottom of the 6th made it a runaway for the Raiders as they win 9-0. Julie Stakowicz threw a complete game shutout and also hit a home run. She won player of the game last night. DJ Oakley was on the call. They'll be back in action just like the baseball team tonight in Poland. Jackson Milton will be winners over Lisbon, 7-1. Final score there as they venture outside of the MVAC on the softball side of things. Champion Softball celebrates senior night with 2 5-inning games against Liberty. These were going to be 5-inning games either way, but they were 5-inning run rules, so it's 16-0 over Liberty in game 1. And then in game 2, it was 20-0 over Liberty. Bella Meyer, congratulations. 100th career hit in that game as a junior. She continues to climb the milestones of champion softball. So 100 career hits for Bella last night as champion gets 2 over Liberty, both in run rule fashion. Also, senior night in Boardman as they were able to run rule Warren Harding 10-0, the final score there. United Softball gets the win over Southern, but there was a fight. They got a lot of grit from the Indians. 4-2, United hangs on for the win. This was a big upset in the MVAC Scarlet tier. Springfield, no hits McDonald. Hallie McCullough, throws her second no-hitter of the season. McDonald scores 1 run and a walk. It's 6-1. Springfield gets the win. Emily Gerthung had a great day at the plate for the Tigers. A big win for Springfield against the MVAC leading McDonald Blue Devils. That is 2 times in Saturday to Wednesday. So 1, 2, 3, 4 days. 2 times in 4 days that McDonald has been no hit. One of them was a perfect game. So their offense kind of in one of those dead periods right now that they have to try to find a way to get out of. So Springfield does get the win there. 6-1 final score. Hubbard, we already talked about Hubbard softball getting the win 10-6. Columbiana softball got the win 16-0 over Wellsville, and then again in the second part of the doubleheader, 20-0. Same 2 scores as the champion doubleheader. That's kind of eerie. 20-0 over Wellsville in game 2. Middle Ridge softball, they had a little bit of a break. They get back to it, 12-3 over Lowville, a conference win for the Rams. Jefferson softball had no problems at all with Struthers this time around. 22-0, the final score in game 2 of that series. First game was a little bit closer than that, but this time Jefferson says no. They run ruled the Wildcats pretty quickly. Brookfield softball gets back to it, 22-3. They get the win over Newton Falls. Pymatuning Valley softball gets the win 12-1 over Badger. Fitch gets the win in game 2 of the doubleheader against Mooney, and it is a no-hitter for Michael Petridis, who gets the no-hitter for Fitch. Final line there. Thanks to Alec Caberna, by the way, for sending us the stats. No hits, 12 strikeouts in that no-hitter for Fitch as they bounce back and get the win in game 2 of the doubleheader over Mooney. Hard team to no-hit. That's an impressive performance. 7-0 final score. Waterloo softball gets the win over Sebring, 15-0, the final score there. Ursuline baseball continues their dominance in the Steel Valley Conference, 29-3 final score there. And then East Palestine got the win, 14-1 on the softball side of things over Latonia. And we had one more score come in this morning. LeBray softball gets the win, 16-7 over Garfield. Those are your final scores from last night. We are going to take our first break of the day, and when we get back, we will go into our interview section of the show with Boardman Senior Manny Dravecki. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on Running Point, brought to you as always by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Your teams work hard and give it all they've got. Well, so does ours, because 21 Sports and YSN give you extra effort when covering local sports. 21 Sports and YSN, winning coverage of our Valley's teams.
Hi, I want to tell you about my Trish Yearwood home collection available at Sheely's Furniture. With 2 locations serving Ohio and Pennsylvania, Sheely's is one of the country's top sellers of my home collection. And the best part? At Sheely's, you never have to wait for a sale. They offer everyday low pricing as well as a price match guarantee, so you can shop the Trish Yearwood home collection with confidence. Come see my collection with something to offer for every room in your home and get it all with free local delivery, only at Sheely's Furniture.
Shopping for a vehicle online should be easy and worry-free. Introducing Merge from Greenwood Chevrolet, a completely new way to buy a car that combines the convenience of shopping online with the personal touch and expertise that Greenwood is known for. With Merge, shopping is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Choose a vehicle from our pre-owned inventory, build a deal that fits your needs, and finalize the deal with our online buying team. That's car buying in a new lane. Visit greenwoodchevrolet.com and let us go the extra mile for you.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you as always by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown, who you just heard from. They go the extra mile for you. We try to do the same here on this show every single day, and we're going to do so today by showing you an interview with another Boardman softball senior. This time we're going to talk with Manny Dravecki from Boardman, who just celebrated senior night last night in a 10-0 win over Warren Harding. Can't wait for you guys to hear this interview. It was a good one with Manny Dravecki on Running Point. Here you go. Anthony Hartwig here with another Boardman softball profile. We're joined by another one of their seniors, and Manny Dravecki. Manny, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you for having me.
Manny, I was talking to you before we went live. I mean, you've been here before. You've done these interviews before. Last year, we talked to you as you were a junior. And one of the things we talked to you about is last year's 10 seniors and learning from them and being able to kind of take in all the leadership you could last year. Now it's your turn. You are a senior. How have you kind of been leading this team? How has the leadership been compared to what you expected it to be last year?
I've always kind of been a leader. I think it's really important to build connections with your players and your teammates, just so that there's a bond on the team, because in my opinion, this obviously isn't a one-player sport. It's a team sport. So having a connection with your players and your teammates, I think that's the most important part of being a leader.
With the multitude of players that graduated last year, you've had a lot of new varsity players step into new varsity roles. What's it been like, since you're talking about building connections with players, building stronger connections with these players that are coming in and building bigger roles in the varsity field? What's that been like for you?
Well, we are a very, very young team, but I don't think it's really affected us in a negative aspect, because I've been playing with these girls since like 10 years. So it's nothing really new for me.
What's that been like? I mean, like, it seems like all the Boardman players even play with each other at some point in time in the off season, the travel ball scene. So, I mean, it's such a tight knit group, not just the high school season, but in the summer. What's that chemistry like for this team?
Um, well, I'm very, very close with my travel team, and a lot of the Boardman high school players play for a travel team called Steel Valley Storm. So I think even having that builds more of a bond with our team, I would say. So I think it's really nice just being able to not just play with them in the spring, but also in the summer.
We talked about last year the energy that you bring to this team and how you're so vocal and you're so high tempo energy. How have you been able to keep that up? Obviously, there are ups and downs for softball. What's the key to keeping your positive energy up and always building this team up like you do so well?
Well, everyone has their slumps. I'm recently getting out of one, and I will say it has been tough trying to have a positive energy, but our coaches like Paige and Fred and Lindsay, they always say that if there's one person down, you're going to bring the whole team down. So, my job, I think, is to just make sure that everyone's having fun and that everyone's staying upbeat. So, I just try and keep a positive attitude, and if something does go wrong, I give myself 5 seconds to calm down, and then I'm all good.
One of the things about this team, like we've said before, they're young, but that means that you get to build new relationships and bigger relationships with people. Who do you think you've gotten to know the most over the course of the season so far? Someone that maybe beforehand you didn't know too well, but now you really know a lot better.
I didn't really have the opportunity to get to know Ava Freeborough that well last year, but I think this year I've gotten very close with her, and especially Tori Strines. I mean, Tori and Maddie, I got to play with them last season, but I think Ava Freeborough, I definitely got to know a little bit better this year.
When you get opportunities like that to build relationships with people outside of the field and the team chemistry and the team bonding exercises, I know you guys do a lot of them. Which one do you think helps you build chemistry the most as far as the team chemistry exercises that this team is able to do?
Um, I think just being able to hang out. We're all very close with each other, and like we both said before, we all play for the same travel teams, the same organizations. So we're not just seeing each other during the school day. We hang out during the weekends and over the summer.
All right, so I got some information from the Twitter, the Facebook page for Boardman softball about you as a senior, and one of the things that caught my eye was you have a nickname that is carried with you throughout most of your life, Peanut.
Yeah.
Do you like this nickname? Is it one that you've kind of grown accustomed to, or is it just one of those ones that you just have to live with?
I mean, my mom and like my family has been calling me Peanut for like ever. It's not a name that like my friends use. A lot of people just call me Maddie Drav, but if people call me Peanut, it doesn't really bother me.
Who do you think has the best nickname on the team? Like, does anyone have that one that is just the best nickname?
Um, Definitely Alex Ward. Her nickname is Baby Bull. It started last summer with our travel team, and it's kind of just stuck. So we call her Baby Bull.
I also want to talk about this deathly fear of raccoons that I'm hearing about because, everyone thinks raccoons are pretty cute when you're looking at them. They look like little robbers, they have little hands, but not you. Where does this fear of raccoons come from?
So it's kind of an embarrassing story, but when I was like really little, there used to be a tree outside my house and there was a baby raccoon on the ground and I went over it to like pick it up and everything and the mom chased me. So that's why I don't like raccoons.
Is it like even like there's some animated raccoons that like do you stay away from raccoons in any way, shape, or form?
It's just like when I'm driving on the road and I see a raccoon, I wig out. Like it's a real fear. Like I can't deal with
Even
them.
in the car when you know that like it can't touch you?
Like seeing their eyes,
No way.
I don't like them.
Yeah, everyone's got something. What kind of other things do you think were you scared of as a kid? Maybe some fears that you had that now aren't there anymore. But you look back at your childhood and you go, man, I can't believe I was so afraid of that.
Um, I used to be like deathly afraid of spiders, but like now they don't really bother me unless it's like really big, because that's a different story. But yeah, like spiders.
Manny Dravecki, spiders are cool. Raccoons,
No.
no, can't do it. When you think about your future, because you're a senior now, and then everyone looks in their future, and there's that one thing that makes them a little bit nervous about it. What kind of things make you nervous about, the future plans and things that you want to achieve in yourself in the next couple of years?
Um, I think the thing that really does scare me a little bit is just I want to be able to keep the relationships I have with the people that I have right now. Like, I don't want to grow apart from everyone because all my friends and especially my teammates, I don't want to, not that I would forget them, but I just hope that I can keep the relationship because I think it's really important to have a strong support system as you're growing up. And I hope to keep the relationships I have now.
Have you made a college decision yet on where you want to go next year?
I will be attending YSU.
When you think about that and you think about keeping those relationships, obviously YSU's right down the road. Did that factor into where you wanted to go? You wanted to stay kind of close to home and stay close to the people that you've built such strong relationships with?
I did want to stay close to home because there was discussion and like topics about going south, but I'm a homebody, so
In your second year in the winter, you might regret that decision.
Yeah, I might.
Well, I should have gone south. I don't know about this. When you think about what you want to study and the things you want to do with your degree at YSU, what kind of career path do you see yourself going into?
As of right now, I'm undecided on what I want to major in because there's so much to pick from. So I haven't gotten that far yet.
When you think of like your dream job, like even if it was a childhood dream job, what kind of things did you used to say you wanted to be when you grew up?
I had always wanted to be a photographer, and I would love to do something in the sports industry, but I'm just not sure what yet.
Just putting it out there, there's always a chair open at YSN. We're always looking for photographers. Just putting it out there. When you think of, your dad, obviously your dad is a travel coach for that Storm team that you're talking about, and you've built a great coach-dad relationship like a lot of softball players do. What's that dynamic like with him being able to be coached by him in the summer and to be able to have him along with your journey in softball?
He's always been my biggest supporter. He's been coaching me since I was, I don't know how little, but I think it's really nice because even on the games that I am not doing my best, I've always said that my dad and Gary Jones, our other travel coach, are very good coaches because they have like a constructive criticism type of coaching way. It's also like Fred. Like, I just think that having all of them by my side is very, very nice and supportive, and it makes me happy.
I like that you compared it to Fred because the next question was a perfect segue. You go from being coached by Moots to being coached by your dad from spring to summer. So what are some of the similarities between the two? And then what are some of the ways that their coaching styles are different?
They actually coach very, very similar. They both want to win. They both have very, very close connections with their girls. And I couldn't be more happy with my coaching with my coaches.
Let's talk a little bit more about Coach Moots and what it's been like to be under him for 4 years and this staff that he's put together at Boardman. What does it mean to you to call them coaches and to be able to be in their program?
Having Coach Fred as a head coach is definitely very interesting. He's super, super funny. And I do think that the relationship he's built with this team is important because there are other teams who don't have that close of a bond with their head coaches. But Fred makes it a big goal to have a relationship with his players. So, and especially Paige Dill, she also has a big role in our softball team. She's always there calming us down and getting us pumped up for games. And same with Lindsay. I think we have a very good coaching staff.
We get to see Coach Moots, on the sidelines of YSN. We don't get to see him every day like you do in practice and off the games. What do you think is something about Coach Moots that maybe the fans don't know that you think like, hey, you got to know about this guy?
Well, yesterday during practice, we were listening to Taylor Swift, and the one flaw that Fred has is that he was not singing along with us.
He was not. He
No,
does
he was
not
not.
sing. You know, he always complains about your music too.
Yeah.
Every time I go to Boardman, he's always complaining about the music. So I don't think he likes the style that you guys have.
I don't know.
Whatever.
I don't know his music tastes. I'll have to ask him.
We'll find something to get Fred Mooch to sing along to one of these days. What about some things that in softball, playing in this conference, AAC, you see a lot of really good pitchers and a lot of really good talent just in your conference alone. What's it like as a hitter going up against all these different players, and what do you think that how do you think that prepares you for what you're going to see come tournament time?
We have a very, very tough schedule this season with playing Fitch in our conference. We played Paynesville, and I just think it's important to play tougher teams to get us ready for the conference, to have us mentally and physically prepared, because it is a 7-inning game, and that's long, and some people aren't cut out for it. But I think playing the tougher teams definitely does help us in the long run.
Caveat to that tough schedule is obviously you're not going to go undefeated. There are going to be ups and downs. Softball is built to make you fail. How have you stayed confident through it all? I mean, obviously there are ups and downs to this season. There's ups and downs to every season. How do you stay confident through it?
I definitely did go through a rough patch. Just these past couple of games, I wasn't doing my best. And I reached out to some of my coaches, like Paige, and she helped me calm down and just made it apparent that this is just a sport. There's going to be another game, and we are early in the season. So just remembering that there's going to be other games is what's keeping me calm.
When you're talking about those moments and those times when you need to be calmed down, obviously you talked about your coaches. Who are some other people that you can go to for advice or role models that you would say that you have in those kind of times when you need lifted up?
I'm always texting my teammates from my travel season and the summer season. I'm always texting them. I've texted girls from Boardman who are no longer here anymore, like Kat and Jenna Alexa, Dana Haas. I always keep in contact with the Boardman graduates who played softball.
When we talk to people next year and we ask them the same question we asked you about last year's seniors, what it was like to be a teammate with them and what kind of things they learned from being their teammate, what do you hope their answer is about you when we ask them next year what was like being a teammate with Maddie Dravecki, and what did Maddie Dravecki teach you?
I hope that my teammates say I'm a good teammate, because I do love all of them, and I try my best to keep everyone motivated and make sure that we're all having fun. So I would hope that they would say that I was a good teammate.
I'm going to put you on the spot because obviously you love all your teammates, but if you had to pick one that you think is going to fit your role next year as far as the energy goes and the upbeat mindset that you bring to the team, who do you think is the one person that you're really confident in that when you're gone, they're going to fill that role on the team next year?
That's really hard. I think it would probably be, there's two girls that I have in mind who don't have the same qualities, but if they both were to lead together, I think that it would be very good. Alex Ward has one of the loudest mouths I've ever heard. She's just like me, always talking, chirping. And Maddie Weimer is just so upbeat and fun that I think those two would be very good leaders next year.
All right, so you are going to eventually have your last game, and senior years brings a lot of laughs. So my final question before we get you out of here, how have you been handling the emotions of senior year, that all the laughs that senior year brings, the last home game? I know you're having senior night. What are some of the emotions going through your head as you deal with all these laughs that senior year is inevitably bringing you?
It is pretty sad because I have been playing this sport for a little over 10 years, and just knowing that it is coming to an end does make me sad. But I just like to remember that I did have a good journey with my softball career, and I still have a summer, so it's not completely over. But
All right, Maddie, before we let you go, I want to give you the chance to shout out your support system, all the people that are kind of there for you and all the people that you wouldn't be where you are without. So shout out whoever you want to give a limelight to.
Definitely my family. They've been supporting me since day one. Rain or sunshine, they're always on. They're always in left field, right where I am. Whether I want them to be there or not, they're always there.
Maddie, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We appreciate the time. We love covering you. We'll continue to the rest of your senior year, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
Thank you so much.
Maddie Dravecki, the senior from Boardman, joining us yesterday, and she was gracious enough to give us her time, so we thank her for that. Middle of the school day, and whenever kids are able to come on during study hall, I'm always extra thankful because obviously that's time that they devote to either their studies or the time they get to kind of socialize and take a break from their schoolwork. So anytime that a athlete is able to take time out of their school day to come on and talk with me, whether it be live on this show or pre-recorded, I gotta give an extra shout out to that. So we'll continue our interviews tomorrow. We always try to get people on every day. So that was Maddie Dravecki for today, though, from Boardman. What a great interview. You look at the leadership that she has brought to this team. I think, Fred Mooch would agree, probably the most vocal, definitely the energy, the spark plug of this team, the one that's always making everybody positive. That's one of the things that was talked about her even last year as a junior with all those seniors that were on the team last year. Even with all that leadership that was on the field, it was still Dravecki that kind of was the one that was kind of keeping everybody pumped up in the dugout and keeping the energy up high. And that's one of the stories that's what the story that we wrote about last year's profile was the fact that she's the energy, she's the spark plug. This year, not only is she that, but she's also a bigger leader on the field. She gets much more varsity time in the outfield, usually in center for Boardman. Does a great job out there as a center fielder. It's where you put your leader in the outfield, and has just done a great job keeping this team focused and positive and confident through the ups and downs of the season. There have been a lot of hills and valleys with this season with Boardman because of the schedule they play, the conference they play in, and then they don't shy away from the non-conference. They're playing at Canton Hoover tonight. Hoover making an AAC run through the next 2 days, by the way. They'll play at Canfield tomorrow. So, Boardman just never, ever slows down in their schedule. Fred Mooch is a firm believer that, you got to expose yourself to the best teams that you can to get ready for the tournament time. And a lot of coaches buy into that. And Fred is always looking for ways to challenge his team further. He'll do that tonight against Hoover. But Dravecki is one of those players that you need if you're going to put together a schedule like that, because there's that line that you can toe that we talk about a lot between building up your resume and exposing your team to a lot of different challenges and different lineups and high caliber pitching and all that stuff. You can either do that, but the way the team handles it can really drastically affect if it hurts or helps. And I always say the schedule, the only people that can make a tough schedule hurt is the team itself. So I always say, if you handle the schedule right, then it will do nothing but help you in the sport of actually every sport except football, where everybody gets in. Football, of course, you have to be careful with your schedule because you have to get enough wins to get in, especially the way it used to be. Now it's a little bit easier to get in the playoffs, but still, you have to have that cutoff point in football. But in every other sport, everybody's getting into the tournament. So the only bad thing, the only negative aspect of having a tough schedule is the way that you can respond to it. Obviously, there are teams, we've seen it before, we'll probably see it again. They're high school kids. There are teams that take those losses and take those tough losses against tough teams, and it gets them down. It gets the confidence down. They can't really bounce back from it. And in the sport of baseball and softball, if you let things get to you, they will snowball so quickly. Because it is a game that even if you're a confident bunch and you're good and you're talented, it is built to make you fail. So if you're not confident and you're down in the dumps, you don't have the right mindset, then it will make you fail even harder. You will hit rock bottom if you let that schedule break your confidence. And Boardman is one of the teams that just has not. They proved it last night. They went out and they played an excellent game against Warren Harding, and they won 10-0, and they get the win earlier this week to bounce back after those 2 losses against Riverside last week. So Boardman has been a team that has been able to bounce back from adversity. We've seen it time and time again. Even 2 weekends ago when they beat Poland 3-1, they were coming off of the 2 losses to Austintown Fitch. So they are not riding the roller coaster. One of the moots isms that we've had on this show, in his coaches' corners before, is when you're down, don't get down. And Boardman does a really good job of that. Obviously they've had some losses. They've had some games where they haven't played the way they wanted to. Their offense hasn't woken up the way that they've wanted to quite yet. But they've never been a team that backs down. They've never been a team that shies away from a challenge, and they've always given the confidence and the focus to Coach Moots. And I think Maddie Dravecki is a big reason why, because her energy, her positive vibes that she brings to that dugout brings out that confidence in everybody else. So if you don't have leaders like that, then you can really, really do damage with a tough schedule like Boardman has. And we've seen it happen before. These are young kids. And if the confidence tanks, then especially in this sport, it's going to hit really hard. And Boardman has not let that happen. Can't wait to talk to more Boardman players as the season goes on, and continue our interview section of the show as the season goes on with all our student athletes and coaches around the area. Let's go into the schedule tonight real quick, see what's going to be on the network and what's happening on the baseball and softball diamonds. We will start with baseball. It's going to be a busy night on the network in high school baseball on April 20th, 2023. Carrollton will go to Salem tonight. 5 o'clock is your first pitch. Derrick Rhodes will have the call. All these games will be at 5. Cheney will go to Badger. That'll be at Eastwood Field. Matt Morrison will be on the call there. 5 o'clock first pitch. Lordstown and Ashtabula St. John. Sam Torres on the call there. 5 o'clock is your first pitch for that game in the 4-4-0. McDonald will have game 2 against Springfield. Noah Doty will have the call there. Niles tries to bounce back against Lakeview. Cooper Chavone will have the call in Cortland in game 2 of that series. South Range will go to Poland to try to sweep the Bulldogs. Chris Colucci making the trip with them. He'll have the call in Bulldog country. Walsh Jesuit baseball going to Hoban, and it will be Alec Caberna making the trip up to Akron to call that game at 5 o'clock. Fitch will be at Mooney. That'll be on scene 1. Matt Maher will be on the call with Jordan. Middle Ridge will be at Columbiana tonight. Joe Eusebio on the call there. And then Harding will play JFK at Eastwood Field at 7. Matt Morrison pulling double duties. He's calling that doubleheader at Eastwood Field. That makes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 baseball games on the network. There are a couple of cancellations today that we have to get to. Crestview at United Baseball has been canceled. Obviously, the game that was supposed to be today with South Range and Mooney was canceled, so South Range can make up that NE8 game. So if you're looking at the original South Range schedule and you see them playing at Scene Park, don't go there. They're playing at Poland for the league, and Western Reserve at Columbiana Baseball has been canceled tonight as well. Softball will have 3 games on the network as Brunswick goes to Hoban. Ty Bartell will be on the call there. Cardinal Mooney will host Canton Central Catholic at the Field of Dreams. Tim Corso will have the call at 5 o'clock for that one. And then South Range will travel to Poland. I will be in Poland for my first look at South Range. And this is weird because I'm usually sticking to South Range like glue, but DJ is taking care of them so well this year. But I'm excited to see the Raiders for the first time this season. Hopefully I get to see them again a couple of times throughout the year. Very good softball team trying to sweep the Bulldogs and really take a throttle hold of the NE8. Poland on their end, by the way, and they need a win if they want to have a chance in the NE8. They're sitting right now at 2 losses, can't afford a third. They have to regroup from the loss yesterday, and it was a competitive game for 5 innings. 3-0. They were right in it, and then all of a sudden, South Range kind of ran away with it in the bottom of the 6th with 6 runs. So they have to hold strong. They have to realize that they played 5 innings of good softball that were competitive with South Range, and they just have to take that next step and make sure to finish out the game, try to find some ways to score. against this pitching staff. It'll be a different look, though. South Range has depth in the circle. Last night, it was Stakowicz that threw. This night, probably Suzani that gets to start in the circle. So it'll be a different look, and Poland will have to make adjustments, get the scouting report ready for Suzani. They've obviously seen both Stakowicz and Suzani last year, so they shouldn't be surprised about anything that either one of those two can throw. They just have to have the right game plan, go up with the bats, the mindset, and get it done. And for South Range, it's going to be the same look. I mean, Katie McDonald is who Poland rides. So they're going to have to just do the same thing. They can't let up. They can't have we won 9-0, so let's just stroll into Poland. Like, Poland's hungry for this game. So South Range has to match that energy and make sure they take care of business tonight. And, I'm not going to say it's going to shirt up the NEA because I'm still interested in that second matchup with Lakeview, because Lakeview on a run right now. Their only loss is to South Range. So if South Range wins tonight, it'll really come down to that second matchup between the Bulldogs and the Raiders. So really excited for that. But South Range can definitely take a stranglehold of the NE8 over Poland today if they get the win. So both those teams looking for a big win in the conference. It should be fun. Here are some games that are happening across the softball diamond as well. Lakeside will go to Conneaut at 4 o'clock. Grand Valley goes to Jefferson at 4:30. We'll see Niles at Lakeview at 5 o'clock. East Palestine goes to Latonia as well. All these next games are at 5. We'll have Crestview at United tonight at 5 o'clock. Edgewood at Pie Valley at 5 o'clock. Jackson Milton goes to Lowville to finish their series inside the MVAC. Newton Falls goes to Brookfield. Minerva goes to West Branch. That game, by the way, will have Gary Leininger on site, so West Branch softball fans can find pictures of tonight's game on YSN SmugMug account later tonight. He'll be catching the Warriors there. McDonald will try to bounce back as they travel to Springfield for game 2 of that series. Waterloo goes to Western Reserve tonight. Girard will be at Hubbard for game 2. And then it'll be Brook at Beaver Local tonight at 5 o'clock. One softball game canceled today. Southeast, obviously, was supposed to play Waterloo. So Waterloo fans, if you're looking for that, they have a league makeup game at Western Reserve. So if you're a Waterloo softball fan and you're looking at the original softball schedule, they were obviously supposed to be home tonight against Southeast. But because of league makeups, they have to make up the Western Reserve game. So they will be at Western Reserve tonight. 5 o'clock first pitch for Waterloo softball. Waterloo softball also featuring Drew Lilly on the Baird Brothers Big Dog of the Valley. Make sure to go to ysnlive.com/big dogs and vote for her and all the other nominees that are on that list. We just came out with the Baird Brothers nominees yesterday, so hopefully you can go on there. You can take some time to vote. Voting is unlimited. You can vote as long as your heart and thumbs can hold up. And it ends on Sunday at midnight. So we're happy for week 2 of Baird Brothers Big Dog of the Valley here with baseball and softball. And we can't wait to see who the winners are on Sunday night into Monday. We thank BairdBrothers.com for constantly letting us have those Big Dogs of the Valley with their sponsorship of that. So those are going to be the games of the network. Once again, go to ysnlive.com/live to check out the games that will be there, an updated list. If anything gets canceled or moved or an announcer, falls out or anything like that, make sure to go to ysnlive.com/live at your game time to make sure it'll be on the network. That's where you can find it. While you're there, go to our website, ysnlive.com. Check out the recaps and stories from last night's game. I always give a shout out to our content team on these shows. Does a wonderful job helping me out getting these stories up on the website. Matt Morrison, Mike Wolfgang, Ty Bartell does his fair share. So I thank them for their hard work as a content team to get as many recaps up on the site as possible. You can find post-game interviews with select games as well. Those will be on our YouTube page, as well as the shows that we put on, player profiles. Just put one up of Abby DeJoy from Brookfield today. So player profiles, coaches' corners also go up there. Make sure to check out our YouTube channel. Subscribe to it. If you're subscribed, hit that notification bell so you never miss a minute of any of the video content that we put on our YouTube channel. We're updating it almost on the daily with all that video content that I just mentioned. So make sure you don't miss a minute of that and subscribe and be be notified of new videos on our YouTube channel. That's going to do it for today's episode of Running Point. We're going to thank you so much for tuning in today from 1 to 2, and we'll be back tomorrow from 1 to 2 with more Running Point, more interviews, more recaps, and more previews of the weekend's action as we round out the week next week on a Friday episode, April 21st. Before I get out of here, I just want to say today is a day where we remember how important kindness is to everybody. April 20th is an important day for me because I am such a big supporter of the charity and the nonprofit organization Rachel's Challenge, who goes around to schools and shares that message of kindness to the school system. They came to South Range my junior year, a big reason why I kind of had a come to Jesus moment when they came to South Range. One of the big reasons why I kind of molded myself into who I am today. So I like to remember how important that organization is on April 20th, because if you don't know, Rachel's Challenge is brought up by the story of Rachel Joy Scott, who was the first victim of the Columbine shooting, which happened on April 20th, 1999. So today is a day where I try to remember, especially today, try to remember how important random acts of kindness and compassion are to people. So I give you that challenge today. Have a random act of kindness for someone today. Show some compassion to somebody. You never know, it might start a chain reaction of kindness throughout the world. So with that being said, I'm going to say adieu. I will be in Poland tonight for South Range versus Poland softball. Plenty of games on the network. YSNlive.com is where you can find it /live. All the games. Check them out. Be back tomorrow.